All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. How is it going? How was your weekend? Welcome to the playground. I'm Pixie Phoenix. I'm a full-time variety streamer here on Twitch. And tonight I'm joined by Nox, our storyteller, Zack, who plays Victor. We're waiting on our Martha. I'm your Alice. And you're joining us for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition Philly by Night. So, and of course, we'd love to hear from you guys in chat, even though we are role-playing. My guests, how are you?
Oh, planning this, plotting that, getting ready for the end of our mothership campaign and plotting what we're going to do next.
Ooh.
Fun.
Have we discussed that? What are we doing next?
What's
I keep forgetting the name of the one that I liked, that I would have liked to explore, but honestly, you have so many interesting systems that I could be happy with a lot of things. I'm not worried about that. And of course, you guys listening out there, we are always looking for new players to join us. We can, depending on the game, try to work with a drop-in, drop-out schedule. You can ask us plenty of questions over on my Discord. There's even a TTRPG chat channel specifically for those conversations. Monday. I feel like I haven't had enough caffeine.
I totally get that one.
Well, the one Kickstarter you showed meant it's got its backers. It got its goal anyway.
Oh, did it?
Yep. Just barely so far. The goal was 50,000. It's at 50,610.
Wow.
So it's only 610 over the goal, but it's still got 2 weeks to go. So stretch goals could definitely be accomplished. That one looked pretty interesting, though. I don't know if you got to see the video for that one, Pix.
I think you showed it to me when I was in the living room with you once. So I thought I saw you looking at Kickstarter for something.
If you saw it, I wasn't showing it to you. You just happened to see it while I was watching.
Oh, okay. Wow. See how much you love me.
No, I'm pretty open. Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the end result of Mothership is going to be, particularly because, as I realized a little while later, even though you guys have come so far, it's still totally conceivable that this still goes super poorly. We are dealing with a nuclear weapon that's literally the size of, a reactor room.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Just sharing with some of my Discord channels that we've gone live. What am I missing?
In the meantime, I've been playing Death Stranding. Haven't gotten as much time to play as I would like, so not as far into it as I wanted to be. But if you're planning on playing it, I'll give you at least this much. Like Without giving any plot details away, it is very micromanaging. It is a very micromanaged game. Like how you equip all the stuff that you're going to carry. And then also, like, as you're traversing, like, you have to hold down the triggers if you want to, like, hold the straps on your suit to, like, brace yourself and stuff like that, which will prevent you from falling, but also decreases your stamina. And then to increase stamina, you have to drink from your canteen. And then if you drink too much, you have to urinate. So, I mean, it is like micromanaging
Sims.
to, like, the core, like...
It's called Norman Reedus Sims.
But if you can get through all the micromanaging, like, the storyline is amazingly Japanese Kojima, like, out of the ether, like, serves no place in reality whatsoever. So don't go into this thinking that it's going to be like a realistic game aside from physics. Physics are very real in this game. Whether you're on a motorcycle or in a truck or just walking, physics are very, very real. And just your cargo shifting, while you turn abruptly can cause, dramatic effects of you tumbling down a hill or like tumbling down a river. And so like there's a lot to it. The storyline is really good. I'm enjoying it so far. But like I said, it is really out there, like Japanese Kojima. Like you really have to have an open mind and think outside the concepts of reality in any sense to kind of get what's going on there. And of course it's Kojima, so there's a ton of metaphors, bridges and strands, and
Nice.
you'll get it once you get into the game. Like the metaphors are just like
Hit you in the face.
But so far enjoyable. I just started chapter 7 of 14, so I'm almost halfway through the game.
Nice.
But yeah, definitely a warning if you don't want to deal with a game that makes you deal with so much micromanagement. Death Stranding may not be for you.
Norman Reedus Walking Simulator.
Yeah, that's so okay. So here's the thing. I've never been interested in it at all under any circumstances. It's not that I dislike Hideo Kojima's stuff. It's the only thing that I know him from is from Metal Gear, and the last Metal Gear game that I played for, which I got a PlayStation literally just for, and I remember like I enjoyed it, but it was FMV the game. Like it was like, oh, I'm gonna play, and I played for 20 minutes, and then I'd have to sit down, and there'd be a 90-minute cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't 4 the one that had the one with the girl that had the bomb shoved up her vagina too, or was that 5? I'm trying to remember.
I never played 5, so
it's probably 5 then. If you're not familiar with it, there was a character.
He went way off the end.
There was a female character that actually had a bomb shoved up her vagina, and like that was a big plot point of the game. And yeah, I never got past Metal Gear Solid 2. I played 1 and 2, but I never played 3, 4, or 5.
So I'm kind of the weird opposite of that. So I've played through 1, and I actually played through the original Metal Gear on the Nintendo, but I never played 2 or 3, and then I played 4. It was fine. It was okay.
2 was just kind of like a total. A lot of players were upset when that one came out because
I'll be right back, guys.
1 starts out with Metal Gear, with Solid Snake, and then like 2 starts out with Solid Snake, and you play Solid Snake through the intro of the game, and then after that you're like shoved into another character named Raiden, and he's like totally not Solid Snake, but he's who you're gonna play for the rest of the game. But
Yeah,
and it was total misleading because he wasn't like shown in any trailers or any show up to the game. Everyone just thought it was going to be another middle, a Solid Snake game, and it was not.
Yeah, I started playing just recently. I started playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really struggling with that one just to keep interest in the
Oh, that was one I played recently. I platinumed that one.
the first, like when you very start the game, like the whole train thing, it's like, okay, this is cool. And then as soon as they take you to like the swamp planet and expect you to do like a whole bunch of exploration, I was like, okay, I'm bored.
It is a lot of exploration, especially if you want to platinum it and get everything. If you're not worried about platinuming it, you're just worried about going through the storyline. You don't have to explore as much, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of exploration and a lot of going back and forth and traversing the same trails you've already been through to get to somewhere new now that you have a new ability that'll allow you to get there.
I mean, and it's funny you should mention that because you were talking about the Death Stranding and how how you had to do certain, like you have to hold down to hoist your backpack and all of that. And that was for me, like when I'm playing Fallen Order, like the fact that you have to hold down a button in order to jump and grab onto things, like it's one of those things I'm like, yeah, this you didn't need to do that.
Now that we're older, we don't need video games to be NES difficulty level.
That is one thing I love about my Switch. I got all the classics. NES, SNES, and I think I got the Sega.
Yeah,
the 64.
The thing about that is that people, and it wasn't ever just that they were difficult, it's that you had to do it all right the first time in order.
Because you had a specific number of lives, or there was a limitation. It wasn't like you had checkpoints or like you could reload back to where you last survived. It was one and done.
Yeah, I remember as a kid playing Ninja Gaiden and being like so thrilled when I got past the first like level, and then like it's the second or third level out and there's birds that fly around, and if they hit you they'll knock you. It doesn't just knock you back, but there's nothing underneath of you, so these birds could basically effectively just instantly kill you. And after dying 3 times in a row to them, and then it was like, okay, start all the way over. I was as a kid, I remember being like, oh fuck this.
That was me with Contra. Contra was that way for me. Like, I finally worked up, getting past the first level in Contra, and then like after that, it got significantly harder, and I was like, screw this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what you need. 30. Why you have to have the 30 lives.
Right.
See, I felt like an idiot.
I didn't know about the Contra code back then.
Right. No, I felt like a kid, a real idiot as a kid, because I thought that I was the only failure at the Sega version of The Lion King.
Oh no!
And then I grow up and find out like that's one of the hardest games ever, and I was like, okay, like I made it pretty fucking far in that game.
Yeah, that game.
I remember
Echo
at least
Dolphin
beating
were, like, iconically like some of the most difficult Sega games ever.
Yeah, I don't remember what order
Echo the Dolphin.
all the levels are in, but I know I got past the Wildebeest Run and the Monkey Falls. No, it was
always the monkeys that throw you from the trees. Those are the ones that got me.
I found that level easy. It was everything after that. Once you go through the elephant graveyard.
And then I never played Echo the Dolphin, but much.
I had Echo Jr.
I never got to play much Echo the Dolphin, so I don't even know if I ever made it even past the first level. but I've seen a lot of like videos that they've done on Echo the Dolphin now, and that game is crazy. If you
Trippy.
like, that game is not just like a dolphin underwater. That game is about like aliens infesting underwater, and
Oh
you're
my
the
god.
only dolphin that
Yeah.
is trying to save Earth from
Yeah.
the aliens infesting the underwater. And like even the final boss battle is like very like Geiger. Like
Yeah.
it's
So we have to welcome our raiders, a good friend of mine, Lord Black Opal, who is a City of Heroes friend of mine,
woo.
just raided us. So welcome, raiders. You're joining us for our Monday night Vampire the Masquerade live action role playing session. We're currently waiting for our fourth, who's running just a wee bit late. So we're just having a little video game chat. Um, Feel free to jump in the chat. We constantly are replying, even though we're role playing. Sound alerts are muted during role playing sessions. But yeah, let us hear from you. How was Monday treating you? What'd you get up to for the weekend? Um, the one I think that got me the most, that like broke my heart, was I got to the last level of Sonic 2 on my last life, and Tails like kicked me off that plane.
Dear Lord.
And I just was like, fuck this, I'm out. No.
was
Just no.
was it Sonic 2 or 3 that had the second to last level was you on the plane with Tails?
No, it's like a cutaway at first, and then it goes into the level, and you're both on the biplane, and then you have to like get onto the
And that was
was it a
2?
blimp or something? Yeah, that was two, if I'm remembering correctly.
And then maybe 3 is different. I'm because 3, the last level is the Metal Sonic. You have to fight the Metal Sonic, I think.
I don't remember that part.
And the level right before that is you on a plane with Tails. Like, Tails is flying the plane, and you're standing on the wings, and you're like going up and down and having to dodge stuff. You're moving the plane. But for some reason, the music for that level specifically has like always stuck with me. I've always been able to remember the music for that level of Sonic. I don't remember
Sonic
any.
always had great music.
I don't know if there's anyone in the chat who's as old as we are and played all the old Sonics.
Think of who I've discussed retro games with. Green Bear, really into retro games.
Well, if you're going to talk about retro games, now might be a good time to bring up this weekend.
Yeah, so as most of you know, up in this corner, I hate it that if I'm in OBS, it flips my camera for me, and if here it doesn't. So I'm always like pointing to the wrong side. As you guys can see up in the right-hand corner, I have my Extra Life info. Zack and I have been raising funds for Extra Life for years now, and we try to volunteer at some of the conventions. So this weekend in Austin is going to be Classic Games Fest, and it looks awesome. There's going to be like a free arcade, constant music by video game DJs. Like, just, it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're in the Austin or Texas region, then you can make that trip. Check it out, Classic Games Fest in Austin, Texas this weekend.
It's the biggest retro game fest in Texas and the 5th biggest in the United States. So it's going to be a pretty big retro game fest, and we'll be there Saturday and Sunday to promote Extra Life and raise money.
Yep. Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. And here in Austin, that's Dell Children's. So we are super passionate about helping those guys out. So we've got our Martha.
Hello, Martha.
Martha has no sound.
Okay, I can hear.
All right.
Sweet.
I was like, what the hell is going on? The headphones are charged this time.
Oh,
All right.
my headphones didn't work either. I had to just toss them out for tonight. So
Anybody want to sponsor me? Like, Logitech, somebody hit us up, give us some new headphones. Great.
All right. Well, let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to our Monday night, 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Philly by Night. Session 61 tonight. So, a very brief recap before we continue on.
Yes.
Last week, our trio had their first council meeting. Whereupon a certain member of the coterie took it upon themselves to out one of the larger secrets of the city of brotherly love, which is that there is a vampire werewolf hybrid that is lurking and living reasonably peacefully in Fairmont Park.
Or at least was.
Yeah, the peacefully living may in fact be a past tense.
If they ever did, I mean, having to deal with the gangrel.
With that particular bit of information on the table, several members of the CAM took the opportunity to take pot shots at our coterie, attempting to tie them both directly and indirectly to Sabbat actions within the city. Once,
Very self-aware werewolves of them.
but not swearwolves. Once the meeting ended, our trio headed back to the club to find themselves dealing with a new and very curious problem. A kindred named Annie, who attempted to make some sort of awkward, if not subtle, overture towards Al before blatantly breaching the masquerade, though thankfully not in front of anybody that would maybe draw any sort of attention about it. So, with that said, as Philadelphia sees the sun go down and the night start, it is cooler than it has been in a while. There are clouds overhead. There are scattered thunderstorms that are across the entire East Coast. There are people who are seeing this as a bit of a break in the middle of a summer that is swelteringly hot.
Relatively oppressive.
Very, very humid.
You're kidding. You're telling me, dude. Oh my God. Like, I just took the dog out in the shade to, like, I think it was this morning, to, like, just let him out. And he was in the shade. And I was still just, like, drenched just because it was so sticky out.
So, what is, with that in mind, Al, you wake, as always, first. When you wake, Lane is getting out the door, maybe running a little late. The sounds of heavy rain from outside are beating on the exterior door to your apartment. So, what is, as you wake, what is your very first thing that you do, Al? What is your first set of actions?
Probably to go get a snack.
Ah,
You went to bed hungry last night, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
yes, somebody is.
Quite peckish.
Not terrible. It's only a 3. It's only curling around your stomach. So, where do you, waking up, heading out, where do you head to go find something to eat? Do you just.
Think if I have, I don't think I really have any contacts I could like call up like Michael does. Um,
You used to, but you eschewed most of them once things got a little more serious with you and Ruby, and you knew those weren't going to be kind of one night things.
wonder if I texted one of the uh was it SEPTA? What am I thinking of? Like the subway
The scepter
workers?
workers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe call up a few of those guys and invite them, for opening of the club and maybe start getting them a little drunk.
So when you call the SEPTA workers, you don't immediately hear anything back from them. It's maybe in between shifts, maybe even a little early. Some of them might actually still be working down there.
Right.
So
Damn, I'm trying to think if I know anybody in a position to be high right now. I kind of had a source with Ruby. Uh,
yeah, and they have gone. Like since what happened with Ruby and since Elysium that night, there has not been a thin blood one that has shown up at the club.
It's been really bad. Like our reputation is being like destroyed around us. And Reese has been like pushing on their platform, so you might have better luck going at like the alleyways, like checking out the
like going
encampments.
prowling. What if I went over to the dissolved girl? Do they? How do they handle feeding on their turf?
Well, now you don't. So as a kind of general uh, rule, unless you know the owner of the territory or the domain and have explicit permission, it's usually considered bad form to feed on their territory.
But
Now,
I thought I had been introduced to Melanie, right? Melody,
Madison,
Madison. M names.
it might be a little different because again, Madison is not a kindred.
She's not kindred. She's kind.
But given the high class of people who tend to frequent there, she may not take very kindly to freebies, as it were.
Fine, I guess I'll just check out the alleys on the way to the club.
All right. 6 dice. 3 white, 3 red.
Great.
So, Are we already burning a willpower tonight? Or do you want to attempt to wait for a perhaps more opportune time to go hunting?
Yeah, I guess I'll just go get the club open and then.
So as you're on your way, you look through the alleys locally. You try to hit up some of the places that maybe you've gone to with Vic. The there just don't seem to be anybody there. It's not even so much that you have feeding opportunities that just kind of don't take the hook so much as you just aren't running into anybody. The alleys are mostly empty. It's still a little bit light out, so it's not like people have settled in for the evening yet. Most of the homeless camps that you've been to, again, there just doesn't seem to be anybody there yet. So when you get to the club and you start setting up, where do you head first? Are you heading to your bar? Are you heading to Robin's bar? Are you heading to Lane's bar? Are you just checking out the club in general? And what are you doing here?
Kind of doing a general walkthrough, making my way to each bar as I go through. Just checking in with anybody, Moira and everybody, just seeing how they're doing.
So the general, just kind of as a general consensus, all of the bars have been left in reasonably good and clean condition. So some of the bar backs are there. Lane's there getting her bar set up. Robin is already there getting her bar set up. Neither Kennedy nor Declan have gotten there, but that's not. I mean, they're kindred. It's not yet full dark, so that's not uncommon or possible. And it's about this time that Clyde comes up to you. And he goes, "Hey, I'm glad I got to catch up with you. I was looking through the security tapes today." He goes, he says, "I don't know if you're going to believe this or not."
It can't be the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it might be. He says, "I've gone back looking through as far back as I can possibly go, looking at odds and ends, looking at old security tapes, literally pulling out on the previous system that we had some of the tapes that they had from when this place was New Rain."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "She's here almost nightly."
But she's just sticking to the corners and shadows.
He says, "I don't know, but she shows up on almost every single video. There's very, very few that she doesn't show up in."
The fuck, is she a Time Lord?
She goes, and here is how far back. The night that you guys showed up, that you guys had to go out and collect Idaho and brought him back, and yeah, she was there that night.
What the fuck?
We're talking about Annie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, just make sure I'm getting names correct.
So she's been here this entire time.
I guess, there
Clyde,
seemed to...
Clyde goes, here's the only thing that is a little weird. The time period when you guys were locked up is the time period that she was not here. Is it that time, that month?
That can't be.
The other thing that is, we'll say, strange is she's only ever here for a little while. And the nights when you aren't here, she's here for very, very short time periods. Like if you're not here, she breezes in, looks around, and then basically breezes out. If you're here for the night, for the entire night, then she's usually here for at least a good couple hours before she breezes out.
Well, that at least rules out her being any kind of byproduct of the Shaw situation. It's definitely interesting. Um, I'm definitely gonna have to talk over with the crew when they get here.
He says, here's your other problem.
Like I need any more.
He says, I took the liberty to go and talk to the people at the front door and showed them the footage. Romano's never seen this girl. Neither is Harvey.
Yeah, she can do some of the things I can do.
So she's breezing in, she's walking in. Nobody's noticing her unless she wants to be noticed. He says, he goes, so why now? I guess it's the
Well, I mean, the only thing we can do is like wait for her to come back because I don't think. Well, did she give me her number?
no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, really all we can do is wait for her to come back and then I'll just confront her with it, what she has to say.
He says, you may want to. He goes, I don't even know who you could ask. He said, but if she's been here this long, somebody else here in Philadelphia has got to know her.
Okay. I have an idea of a couple I can base with. Can you text me a photo from some of the footage, just something clear?
He goes, I'll text you whatever I can, but to be frank, a lot of it is not very clear. It's only once you see her that you see her. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just need, just a rough image of her face, something that, possibly allow her to be recognized off the footage.
He's like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, anything else?
I goes, that's the biggest thing.
I appreciate it.
He's like, he shoots you deuces and starts to head off. Vic, are you there, Vic?
Yeah, I'm here.
So you wake up, sun's gone down. What is your first set of actions? What are you doing?
I don't think I had really anything like high up on my priority list, so I'd probably just head over to the club and meet up with Romano and Harvey and Jack and see how things are going.
When you get there, when you get to the door, Romano and Harvey are there. Jack is just walking up. He gives you kind of a short nod, and then everybody kind of gets right to it. They go into their checking the doors, getting everything ready for the line, making sure there's cash at the door for entry fees, things like that. It's only after a couple minutes where Harvey kind of pulls you to the side and he's like, so what's going on with, I guess, he's like, I guess somebody who's regularly breaking in here.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about?
He's like, well, Clyde showed us some pictures of some girl. He's like, none of us have ever seen her, but apparently she's been here every night. He's like, she ain't paying cover.
I haven't seen Clyde tonight, so this is the first time hearing of it. I'll go see what I can find out.
He's like, yeah, I mean, I just want to know what we're going to do about it, if we're going to do anything about it.
Again, I'll go find out what's going on. I don't know anything about this right now, so let me go figure out what's going on.
Mr. Starwell, when you wake up, what is with Westy at hand, what is y'all's very first thing that you guys need to do?
Oh, well, I ask her. She's hungry.
She kind of gives a short nod and she's like, yeah, I could definitely eat.
How many livers do I have?
You haven't eaten any of them yet.
So I have a couple.
You haven't eaten.
She hasn't eaten any. So I have a couple on hand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make sure she eats.
She definitely downs 1.5 of them. It is a really weird thing to watch. Watching a vampire, like a full-blooded vampire, actually eat. It is a little bit like watching like a dog eat or something like that. The elongated fangs that definitely don't do any favors for
chewing.
Yeah, for chewing. So it is a lot of ripping and tearing and swallowing, which makes her extremely self-conscious when she sees you watching her doing this, because she must suddenly realize that this is not normal.
In both senses. It's not normal for humans. It's not normal for vampires. So.
I don't know. I've eaten like that for a really good steak.
You cannot be the center of attention right now. Okay. And so, does she like stop eating or anything? I mean, like
no, she most
a reassuring smile.
She most certainly doesn't stop eating, although she does slow down a little bit.
I give her a reassuring smile, like I'm not too fussed. And as she eats, I get dressed for the evening and check any messages or voicemails.
You don't have any particular messages or voicemails that are not business related. You do have a voicemail from Moira related to your veterinary clinic.
Nice.
She's basically saying that there's not a really good way to do this in the local area without a significant expenditure that would probably be uncomfortable for the business currently. Said if you're hellbent on it, she says the best possible options is either to acquire one already working or attempt to make inroads with a functional one and attempt to maybe buy into like some of the veterinary clinics or chains. So maybe buying a franchise or something like that. She says, but setting up a new private one, she says it's just too many permits, too many things that would need to be set up in advance, too many things that, it's not something that can be set up on the short term very easily without a significant expenditure that may not be particularly comfortable at this point.
Okay. All right. And then once she's done, I ask, help her get cleaned up and dressed and tell her to head on down to the club as I stop by the not the Toreadors, the Tremere. See if anybody's home.
Nobody answers the door. When you get there and you knock on the door, Westy is kind of like, who is this?
This is some of our Tremere friends.
She goes, a what?
Another. Remember how I told you about clans?
She's like, vaguely.
Okay. I'm a Toreador, and so are you. They are Tremere.
She like throws up like fake gang signs, and she's like, is it like that? Do we change allegiances when shit goes sideways?
No, but you're more inclined to certain gifts than others.
Got yourself a hood rat.
She's like, so okay, so then who are she kind of mentions at the door, and she's like, so what's this? She goes, who are that? Who is this? Who are they?
These are our friends, and I name them. You really, this is our friend Eugene, and the Tremere have an inclination towards. Where's my book? The supernatural, necromancy,
Blood magic.
blood magic, etc., etc.
As soon as when you say magic, she's like Harry Potter.
I mean, you're dead, aren't you? But you're talking to me.
That thought kind of stops her dead, and she's like, I didn't think about that.
This is life 2.0. It's not the same, but it's not the void.
She goes, so is there something like death? Like, can we die?
Yes.
She's, oh, wait, hold on. She goes, I have a better question then. She's like, so then if we're dead but we're alive, she's like, so what does that mean for heaven or hell or nirvana or any of those states? Does that exist?
Not that I know of.
She kind of gives you kind of a long stare, and she goes, I feel like I have wasted a lot of my life right now.
We all feel like that at some point afterwards. But that's the whole point. You've got another chance.
She's like, okay. She kind of sticks her hands in her pockets and just kind of waits. Eugene never answers the door. Nobody answers the door. So
okay. I'm like, do you know that there's somebody in there? Before we leave.
Do you say that to Westy?
Yeah.
She's like,
he already showed bloodhound abilities, so I think he was just trying to tap on her bloodhound sense.
She does have bloodhound.
Okay. She goes, I don't smell anything, if that's what you're asking. She goes, but I also, she like holds her hand up and like blows into her mouth and then smells, and she's like, but I also, I don't smell a whole lot other than what I just ate.
I continue then down to the club. Yeah.
So, do you all meet up somewhere? Do you meet in front of the...
I just go to the club and head in.
Okay. So what we'll say is that you guys run into one another kind of all roughly about the same time. So where do you guys go somewhere to talk, or do you just talk there?
It's the office.
Yeah, guys, I think we should go to the office, and I think we should bring Clyde in on this.
I would definitely go. Once about hearing the slight implications of what has been found, immediately call a meeting in the office.
So when you guys get to the office, Clyde comes in and fills everybody in on his find, and he hands you, Al, a printed out black and white that's as zoomed in as possible. And even looking at the photo, um, like if you were asked to describe the person who is in the photo, it would be very difficult for you to give any sort of defining feature that wasn't very, has hair, is human. The only feature that really stands out to you is those eyes, those dead doll eyes. Um, Even here, even on the photos, it looks as if she's not blinking ever. Like those eyes just don't close.
It's like we've had a fucking spy camera in the club the entire fucking time.
Which weirds me
It's a-
out as much as you and I have done since the unseen in here, and yet never once caught her.
She doesn't look familiar to me at all, does she?
Nope.
Yeah, as far as I've been watching the door, and as far as from what I'm hearing from Romano and Harvey, they've never seen her come in the front door either. So how she's getting in the club is unknown.
Worrisome.
Because yeah, the fact that she's not coming in through the front door and not
No, she is.
or she may be,
shows.
she's not definitely not being seen.
I mean, at this
So
point, would Clyde say,
Romano
like,
and Harvey have never seen her come in the door.
Right.
She just always ends up in the club somehow.
Now, worth mentioning is that when you ask Clyde about that, she comes in the club through all sorts of different ways. Sometimes when New Rain was there, sometimes she'd come in from roof access. Sometimes she would come in through the front door and just basically stand between two people who were buying tickets, and when they walked in, she'd walk in right behind them. Sometimes when she'd walk in through the back door. In fact, the most recent time that she got here, before you guys came in, was the night that you guys went outside, and that's when you found Westy. On the cameras, when you guys walk out the back door, she walks out the back door with you.
So she was there.
Mm-hmm. She didn't stick around when you found the body. She scooted off.
Do we see which direction she goes towards?
It's literally the opposite direction. You guys took a right to the dumpsters, and she took a left going down the alley.
Interesting. But she didn't stick around to see.
No.
Okay.
But she was inside with us the whole time too.
So she wouldn't quite be the attacker.
Doesn't mean she doesn't know about what's going on. It just means she wasn't the perpetrator if she was inside with us.
Let's not forget, it does also appear that she got picked up by SI. We did.
Interesting.
Theoretically. She's gone, well, the whole time we're gone. But then when we get back, she starts coming back.
It wasn't just a case of her showing up and not seeing you there and leaving. It was like she never even showed up at the front door type thing.
That's what Clyde conveyed.
Clyde nods. He says, yeah. She goes, "Is the time period that you guys are gone, from what I was able to pull from the cameras, she's not here either."
And that most likely means she was in there with us.
Just hanging out with us.
Dude, is it a role to know to remember if we saw anyone.
Yeah, can I do a occult roll or something to figure out what kind of capabilities, like, or remember anything?
Not even the capabilities. I'm just like, when we were escaping SI and we were like looking through all the like, the cells and everything. Did I happen, like, is it what kind of a role would it be for me to remember if I saw them in a cell somewhere?
Intelligence and awareness.
That might be me.
Now, keep in mind, each of those roles would be different for each one of you. This is not something
Yeah.
you could assist with because it is literally, do I remember seeing this person there?
So each of us can make an awareness.
Theoretically, each of you can make an awareness roll. Now, here is the thing I'm going to tell you. The difficulty is going to be much harder for Vic and Michael than it is for you, Al, for one reason only. You've actually seen this person in person. They're basically.
We don't have an image.
We're going off of video.
You're literally going off of a CCTV footage. So the difficulty rating there is going to be substantially higher, given that this is already somebody who has made a point to.
So for me, it would be which awareness and
intelligence.
Your intelligence
Same.
and your awareness.
Yeah, same for everybody.
So wait, but I'm asking for a different role. Like, I'm trying to see if this sparks any recollection in my 100-year history kind of thing.
I would say
I guess
you
it would be.
Yeah. I would say no. You've never heard of, or I guess let me rephrase the question back to you. Are you asking if you've heard of somebody who could do this, or are you asking if you know who this person is?
I am asking if I can pick up any tells from behavior or abilities.
So we'll go with Vic's role first, because it's an easy answer. Vic, you don't recall ever seeing anybody like this in the
naval unit,
in the naval base.
Okay.
Michael, I would say that answer is going to be difficult for you because the only ability that you know of that they're using is obfuscate.
Okay.
Which could be as simple as could be a Malkavian, it could be a Nosferatu, it could be let me double check really quick before I say that next one. It could be Bana Hakam. It could be the Ministry. It could be Ravnos. It could be, and it could just be a Caitiff. So it's one of those things where there's just based off of that one singular ability. And again, knowing that Kindred can gain abilities that are not within that. I mean, Vic is a Bruja who happens to have obfuscate.
Like
so
me.
Yeah, so there's so somebody's power set doesn't necessarily indicate
Right.
much.
What clan? Yeah.
Ooh. Speaking of that, side note, do we know what Westy is like showing from? Like, is she showing anything from the clan strengths, like celerity, aspects, or?
She hasn't used any of her powers in front of you, so you're not entirely. You know she's not a thin blood.
Yeah. Okay.
But what she has, you don't know.
Got it.
So no modifier.
Who?
I'll just tell you the answer. You don't recall ever seeing anybody like that there.
I just know we did do a lot of running around and breaking people out. We were in a lot of places. So,
Yeah. That was why my thought was like, did I see her while we were?
My other thought was to
She
call,
could have been invisible the whole time we were there too.
What's her name? Door check. The other Bahari.
Uriel.
Thank you. I think I'd want to shoot her a text. asking if I can discuss something important when she's on break. She give me a call.
You get a response back fairly quickly. It's just kind of okay.
And then with Michael and everyone in the room, like if we check with Brittany. Well, I think we might
Heard
need
that name in a while.
Brittany's our Nas in the club. She hangs out in the club and just kind of watches things invisibly. Might be worth at least, showing her images and seeing if, she's,
The last time you saw Brittany was the night of Elysium.
Oh, shit. She hasn't come back?
A lot of them didn't come back.
Oh, so I guess all of the Nas, like the Nas are just...
Like, we kind of fucked up Elysium. We shat the bed a little bit. And a lot of people have a lot of ideas coming off of that.
We took care of Sean, and they're still treating us like shit for it.
Unfortunately,
Well,
we didn't shit the bed. Amber Heard shit the bed, and we're just having to deal with it. We're just having to deal with the shit in the bed. But that wasn't us shitting the bed. That's
if we count Ruby as us, yeah.
But
That's that. Yeah. No, there's no denying that. You can't explain that away. Ruby fucked up.
Ruby was your girl, so you shit the bed. I'm just
Not as much my girl as I thought.
I'm just kidding.
The bus. I am throwing you under it.
Yeah. Right.
It's really a turd on four wheels. Roll under it.
That's all I can think to do. Other than that, I need to eat at some point.
So Al, you text Uriel to try to get more information. Vic, Michael, you wanted to go look for Brittany, correct?
Well, I wasn't aware that we hadn't heard or seen like she was been MIA since. If I knew that, I wouldn't have been trying to look in the club for her. But
well, you guys haven't looked for her, and she doesn't normally just lurk around. She usually stays in corners or obfuscated.
But she usually responds to text messages and club messages like that, right?
Sometimes if she's called directly upon, she has answered in the past, but unless you specifically go looking for her.
Okay, if that's the case, then I would see if she would not mind coming down to the office just to view some security footage and see if we get a response and see if you know what.
If she can help out with identifying, or if she's also run into this person.
You don't get a response.
Okay. Then she's probably not here at the club. And if she is at the club, I don't know where to find her because I can't see unseen. So,
all right. Well, I'll definitely take a tour around the club really quickly with Sense the Unseen. See if I can spot her in the green room where she usually likes to hang out, the DJ booth, anywhere.
I will give this one to you. She's not there. She's not in the club. She's not there. She's not in any of her normal haunts.
Early,
but she usually, keep in mind, she basically lived in the club.
Yeah.
So the fact that she is not there indicates, and going to the places where she usually hangs out, there's been no sign that she's been there for a bit.
until she shows what really got it.
I guess the only other thing we can do is work on the wall, which I know would not have been present at the time, but it was stated at the end of the last game we were going to try and start recouping the wall and getting her back to a working order.
We need the Tremere for that.
Yeah, you're gone. Crap. Well. Damn it, we just hang our heads in shame and just stand in the middle of the club, and that's the end of the night.
Shame, shame, shame.
Oh my God, she's so hot in real life. Has anybody seen Ted Lasso?
Eh?
Say what?
She's the owner of the club.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
She's
no.
also Shame Lady.
Yeah.
She fit. That's all I'm saying. She has like a little, like,
Actually, we knew about her before Ted Lasso because she's in Sex Education. She was the
very
swimmer's
cool.
mom. He had the two moms.
I have yet to check that one out. I hear it's very good.
It's actually really good. And if you're a fan of Doctor Who, the new Doctor is going to be coming from that show as well. So if you haven't seen Sex Education, the new Doctor for Doctor Who is actually one of the characters from that, or played by the actor plays one of the characters from that show. But
Very cool.
he'll be the new Doctor.
So I'm looking for food. Have we been open long enough to maybe snoop around, see if somebody's been pre-gaming?
I would also like to know, have our backups shown up?
So it is about this point when the club doors finally open. Declan and Kennedy have come in.
Okay.
Jen is there, ready to work. So you guys have it's not a super full night. It's definitely a busy.
Way too rainy
Yeah, it's there. It's busier than you would expect.
for a rainy night. Yeah, okay.
But but it is definitely, there's definitely a bunch of people who are coming in looking to start their evening.
And I assume by this time we need to do rouse checks.
This would in fact be the appropriate time to do some housekeeping.
Damn. Hey, at least Al didn't get any hungrier.
Shit.
But we need to go feeding. Like now. That needs to be a priority. I'm at 3.
Starting to get a little scary up here in the club.
So what? I'm at a
1.
Okay. Okay.
You're the only one not hungry.
So to answer your question, Al, there are a couple people who have come in. There are a couple people who are wandering around. You can tell, maybe not drunk or perpetually screwed up, but definitely starting their evening with the intention of getting there. That's pretty obvious just from watching the crowd, watching people's behaviors, watching who is maybe a little twitchy, who's a little too hyped up, who is slurring their words already.
Do we have any kindred, or is it all kind?
It is, as of right now, the only kindred that are there are working.
We're being ostracized.
I think I'd probably just try to cozy up to one of these soon-to-be drunkards and kind of start feeding them drinks.
Okay, so you are trying to
Liquor them up enough to, walk them over to a booth in the corner, take a little nip.
Got it. Okay. So you were attempting to hunt within the club. Vic, what are you doing?
It's still too early for me to kind of try and hunt in the club. So I guess I don't want to get any hungrier. So, if Al doesn't mind teaming up, I assume we might be able to.
Clean up what?
Teaming up.
Oh.
I didn't say.
I already picked. I thought you said cleaning up. I'm like, what?
No,
What the fuck? I ain't
teaming
not my job.
up. A team up.
Well, I already picked my guy.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll
I'll go outside looking for someone then.
Okay, so you're gonna go hunting. So roll 6 dice, 3 and 3.
All right.
What's your type anyway, Vic? I forgot.
A Sandman.
Oh, yeah, no.
Ooh, well,
Here.
that's not a good roll. Oh, it's the letters first. Huh? There we go. Oh, spend a willpower to reroll 2. I know it's early, but
All right, Vic. So you head out, and even though it is early, you do find a small tent encampment a couple blocks away from the club, where there's a older homeless woman there who is passed out. So how much do you feed off of her?
just 2.
When you sink your fangs into her, she was already kind of twitchy, kind of maybe having some sort of nightmares, having some sort of episode with her sleep. By the time that you're done drinking off of her, her heart rate and heart rhythm has smoothed out. The twitching in her sleep has stopped. And you know that if she's having any sort of dreams, they're not negative ones anymore. She is sleeping as soundly as a baby.
All right. I'll head back to the club, I guess.
Al. When you're talking with the guy who you're getting kind of liquored up, he drops 2 particularly, shall we say, problematic pieces of information for you. One is he is in conversation talking about his particular chemicals that he's interested in. You happen to notice that his arms are covered in track marks.
Hmm.
And given the condition of his arms and the bruising that he's got going on, you're pretty sure he's a high risk in terms of sharing needles. The other bit of information that he happens to offhandedly drop is in conversation being like, he's like, yeah, I mean, I never got vaccinated. He was like, I didn't see a reason to. It was either going to kill me or it wasn't. He was like, and they weren't going to give me a shot with my arms looking the way they were anyways.
You just ate off of him, Al?
No, not yet.
Oh.
He's like,
And we have a known vaccination policy at the door, right?
I don't think so.
Yes, we do. 'cause
No,
Philly
that was
does.
something I specifically remember Michael bringing up at some point.
No, Philly does. So we do. We never back down from that. Vax cards or no entrance.
Then maybe he needs to be a new liver for West area.
Not if
I wouldn't
he's
even give it to her.
infected.
so what are you going to do, Al?
Use the blood for no wall.
I'm gonna confront him and be like, dude, I don't know how you managed to sneak in if you had some fake Vax card or some bullshit, but Philly is still under a Vax rule. So,
He's
You
like,
can
oh,
86 him.
yeah,
he's
you need to just get the fuck up at our club.
he seems kind of offended. Like he's kind of like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry,
What the
man.
fuck indeed, selfish fucking asshole.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I go ahead and
Sorry.
like radio to Vic and the guys. I'm like, yeah, I think I need help getting somebody removed.
When the radio comes through, Jack is like, I'm on it. When he comes through, he is wearing a pair of gray cargo pants, some old looking work boots. He's got on a tank top, and he is completely masked.
Good man.
Not even just like cloth mask, but like full on like respirator.
It's a vibe.
Hey man, if I could afford them.
When the dude is kind of like, you don't have to be like this. Jack offers very gently at first to be like, you're asked to leave. You can leave on your own accord. When the dude kind of starts trying to plead with him and be maybe kind of a little drunkenly aggressive, Jack just very politely but firmly basically grabs the guy by the back of the neck of his shirt and by one arm and just kind of forcefully perp walks him out the front door. When he gets back to the front door, like Romano and them are like, all right.
How did he get in here?
The Jack pulls out a card from his back pocket, from the dude's back pocket, and hands it to Romano, who radios to you and says, another fake fucking Vax card.
I rip
Burn
that
it.
shit up. Rip that shit up and send them packing.
So this seems like an opportune point to go take our bio break. We'll be back in 10.
Yeah.
After
Alright.
hours fed.
All right, everybody, stick around. We'll be back in a few, and I will run a quick ad to hopefully alleviate some of those pre-roll ads later on. We'll see you in a minute.
but
Never
Yeah,
got
but the
it.
Democrats
Wouldn't have
were
got-
gonna like
Okay.
they were gonna like
We're back.
torpedo that right off the bat.
yep.
Take a deep breath.
Woosa!
We're back,
We started
everybody.
talking about some real politics, y'all. I'm sorry.
Thanks for
Not
sticking
vampire
with us.
politics.
Yeah, but we will be getting back to that. I just wanted to do quick introductions if you're just joining us. Joined tonight by Knox, our storyteller, Zack, who is Vic,
Hey,
Martha plays Michael, and I'm here, Alice, and I think Alice was about to have to go looking for another snack.
So you get a call from Uriel, Alice. When do you pick up?
Yeah.
She picks up. She goes, "Are you all right?"
Yeah, just something unsettling, and one of the few people I felt like might understand can't give me any answers.
She's like, "Go on."
Seems our club has had a bit of a stalker. Um, they decided to introduce themselves to me last night. Um, did a little snooping and found out this person has been infiltrating the club basically every night with some kind of focus on me. Um, the their name is Annie. They've got these really creepy eyes. Anybody like that come in? Strike you weird?
She says, "No, no," but the that kind of behavior is not uncommon among our kind. She says, "I mean, even if you look back at the literature that surrounds our kind, the Irishman's original story was about Dracula stalking two separate women without their consent." She says when you add in the number of different clans, she says, clan Malkov, which so often we focus on the types of debilitating madness that they suffer, but the reality is that obsession is just as categorically, shall we say, for lack of a better term, becoming obsessed with things, becoming obsessed with people is just another form of madness.
I think she's
It's entirely possible, but it's keep in mind, obsessing over things, the even the Zamitzi, their bane is a need to have. They have an unnatural need to possess. She says, so it's this kind of behavior is not uncommon, unfortunately, within the types of people who frequent this life. She says, on the other hand, however, the better question is this Annie has she actually done anything?
that we know of. No, just comes into the club unnoticed, I mean, completely unnoticed. We didn't know anything until we went back and looked through the camera footage. She's been coming here almost every night, even since before the SI event happened. And coincidentally, during that time period, wasn't coming into the club. So there is the theory that she too was captured with us.
She says, then perhaps the questions that you should be asking are twofold. Says, what has caused the change from being at a perhaps respectful distance to feeling emboldened? Says, and the other question is if you believe that she was locked up as you were, then do you have any proof?
No, that's why I said it's a theory at the moment.
Theoretically, you could go get proof there.
Going back to SI?
Says you could always attempt to head back to the naval base and attempt to get inside and go through their records if this is that troubling to you.
Seems like a lot of putting my neck on the line for answers that may not exist.
But it also might be worth the exploration because who knows what else you'll find out.
But it is a good idea. I appreciate that you brought that up.
She says, for your sake, it's probably a better option to, shall we say, determine the whys.
This goes back to the cryptic thing somebody said before, like, to look for people who hate you for things they can't solve. Why indeed?
I don't know if I'm there when the phone call is happening or not. So I'm trying not to metagame.
I don't imagine I would have moved because you
Okay.
you were here when we radioed to Clyde and they radioed back.
Then to me it kind of sounds like whoever this is of the Bahari. Is with the Bahari.
I had kind of figured that part.
They've been keeping an eye on you for a while. So it just seems like that they were keeping an eye on you as a possible
member.
But possible member, and then when you actually became a member, it seems like maybe now that things have gone down a little bit, they're open to talking to you, or open to making themselves known. But so far, through the video and through anything we've seen, and through the information you've gotten from Ariel, is it Ariel?
Uriel.
It doesn't seem like they really pose a threat. So it seems like we're kind of, I mean, definitely keep an eye on her, yes, but and I might suggest maybe even someone just checking footage, nightly, just briefly, just to see what she's doing. But other than that, like I don't think it's aside from unless you want to find out more about her specifically, Al, I don't think it necessarily is a threat to us.
I'm sure there's a way that I can look at the security feed from the office, right? Like, that seems obvious.
I mean, yes, but what are you attempting to do?
Just quickly, like, scanning over tonight's cameras, like tape, see if she is spotted.
You don't see anybody yet.
Okay.
Guess I would just inquire as to how Uriel's doing.
She's fine. She lets you go after a couple moments to head back to her work at the Dissolved Girl.
We have 2, 3.
And I don't know if it's a good time to bring it up or not, Michael, but we've got 3 people working the front door now. I didn't know when you wanted me to start, at least looking over to the Dissolved Girl is, at least figuring out when to start there, or if you think we needed more help on the front door before that, but it at least it seems like we've got front door coverage at this point.
It seems like you definitely have wiggle room to help out your daughter. Maybe not tonight, but definitely a couple nights a week for sure.
Good.
Tonight, I kind of. Where is the Dissolved Girl?
On the map?
I have not put it on the map yet.
Okay.
I think it's up north though.
Like close to Guilt?
Not that
No,
far up
other
north.
side.
It's on the river.
Okay. Okay.
I'll at least text her then and let her inform her of the situation.
I would like to take a known car of ours and just do a drive through the Northeast, maybe end up at Guilt at the end of the night.
So you guys are going to. So you want to head to the Northeast to check it out.
Yeah,
Because
just
the last
do some recon because of the last thing that was said. And I also I know is she close to the Duskborn community?
who
And the Dissolved Girl, is it close to the park?
Oh no, it's in here somewhere.
Oh. Oh shit. Okay. Has anybody heard from Idaho? Does anybody have a way of texting him anything?
No,
I mean,
Idaho is completely
Gone.
out of hand.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so you guys going to head north to go check out what's going on? Because the last time that you did that, you ended up at a set of very creepy warehouses at the end of the night.
We're gonna go adventuring. I'll go along. It's not like I need to eat anyway, so.
So you guys are going to take a trip to the Northeast. So before you leave, is there anything each of you want to do individually? Michael, are you bringing Westy with you?
I'm gonna leave her here to work the door.
Okay.
If we're going to the Northeast, I'm packing the trunk up. All the ammo, all the guns, all the.
Yeah, I have my hidden blade and my my pistol on me.
Okay.
I want to check on my bars real quick.
So going down. So Vic, you are going to head to the car and basically to do a loadout on the car, correct?
Yeah, if we're going into Northeast territory, I don't know what to expect from these assholes, so I want to come fully prepared. So I'm making sure we've at least got what we need in the trunk if we run into trouble.
Okay, so we'll say you're doing that and getting the car set up. Michael, what are you doing right now? Are you just taking care of Westy, or are you?
Well, no, I'm gonna tell Clyde, good job, really good spot. You're in for promotion. Definitely get Jen for the night, just because he deserves a little bit of a break. And I think she makes the other bartenders uncomfortable.
He's like, okay, I could do that.
Keep an eye on her and keep an eye on the tapes as well. And then Westy, you've got Do you want door duty or do you want a bar back?
She's like, I'll work door.
Okay.
You don't.
She's big. She's intimidating. She worked good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
She's
I
she's
know,
a
it's just-
wonderful, striking guard of the door for sure. Before she leaves, I'm going to keep her back and have a conversation with her. But Al,
So what is the conversation you're gonna have with Westy?
I'm just going to ask her if she has any tendencies or abilities anything that like she's good at that she's noticed since then. And then
She's kind of like, I mean, I haven't since that night. I haven't been anywhere without you. She goes, I don't. She's like, I really have no idea. I haven't even thought about it.
all right, well, we'll do that when I get back tonight. But
She's like, okay.
just keep it low key and try and do as little as possible.
She's like, that's the opposite of who I am as a person, but okay.
Until we figure out what you have, I don't want you like. So remember that first night when I was like blinking around the room?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one of our tendencies. If you don't know you have it and you go to like, handle something or get somewhere fast and you like blink across the room in an instant, you're going to ruin the masquerade. And then I'm going to have to like, I don't want to do anything to you. I don't want to be in a bad spot where you're in danger and that might endanger you.
So just try to be completely as normal as possible.
So if you can like focus on meditating and staying calm and being present, that might do you some good tonight.
She looks at you like you have grown a second head, but she's like, okay.
It might not. It doesn't hurt to like. I'll inform Romano and Harvey to keep a very close eye on her if she's going to be at the door. Just to be like, first night alone from Sire, doesn't even know what she's doing yet. So please keep an eye on her. That's very important.
Definitely, yeah, and also going to tell her the usual capabilities that come with being a Toreador, and break down like celerity. This affects you this way. Obfuscate. That's why we didn't see the girl. Right? No.
No.
Where is it? No.
Celerity, presence.
Aspects and presence, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
presence.
Yeah. And I'm gonna show her a couple.
You do not have enough time to do that.
Okay,
to go
then never
through
mind.
all of that.
Oh no. I'm just gonna let her know. These are like usually what pops up. Stay cool. You got this.
Okay.
Here we go.
Al, what are you doing?
Checking on bars. And then I'll, probably go over and get my gear.
So when you go down to check on your bars, it's about the same time that Clyde is going and pulling Jen off the bar. When she sees you, she like gives you kind of like a wave as she and Clyde walk off to probably go shovel trash. Everybody seems pretty low key. Robin's bar is almost completely empty. Lane's bar is doing all right. Declan and Kennedy, it's busy. It's not as busy as it was with you and Ruby there.
Oh, I don't think the two of us are like our absence is obviously the total reason for our lack of customers recently. But yeah, as long as they're taken care of, I'd probably just run over to the apartment real quick, grab my pistol, my brass knucks, just kind of grab my leather jacket.
So, when you get into the apartment, two things. One, when you get to your apartment, the door is already slightly ajar.
Mm. Two?
When you push the door open, there is someone in your apartment. They are unconscious.
Mm.
Their ankles and wrists are duct taped.
Uh,
And they have duct tape over their mouth and eyes.
and she turns to you and says, "Joke's on you. I'm into this shit."
Oh boy. Um.
There is a note pinned to the duct tape at the wrists.
Worried.
The note, in almost a childlike scrawl, simply says, "Heard you were hungry, left you a snack."
Yeah, I'll run Since the Unseen.
There's nothing here that is not.
Uh,
But I will also say that
Oh,
the
stop, Batman.
lock is perfectly intact. There's nothing about the lock on your door that's been jimmied or damaged. There's nothing to indicate any sort of forced entry.
I just. Uh.
Close the door. Harvest the liver.
My first issue is, who the fuck is this? Like, am I supposed to just, you know?
You're muted, Michael.
I don't recognize anything about this person.
I mean, no, but they're also faces covered in duct tape. So
That's the issue. Is like, I don't want to be recognized. Damn it.
Well, I got a free waxing.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna train this person point of passing out. So I think that's what, 2 or 3.
3. So you are going to drain 3 off of them.
Yes. Then I'm gonna handcuff them to the bed so that
Okay.
Westy has a snack for later. Nobody knows who this person is or how they got there.
Exactly. You don't know who this person is. Like, you don't know if they're, or if they were videotaped coming in.
If you knock them out, you might as well just drop them off in an alley somewhere.
I was trying to think about your girl, but
So you drank. Bring your hunger down to.
No, the cameras are a good point, though. I had wondered. I was like, would this have been caught on the apartment cameras? Because they like probably face our doors. Uh, who would have access to those cameras right now?
Moira.
Yeah, once I've finished drinking, I would step outside and close the door and give Moira a quick call.
She picks up. She almost immediately, and she's like, "What's going on?"
So I need you to run a check on the footage for the apartments for the last maybe hour. We had a bit of a break-in over here.
She's like, "Okay." She goes, "You're
Gifted delivery.
in your apartment?"
Mm-hmm.
She tells you to wait for a second, and then about 3 minutes later, you hear a "What the fuck?" And she says, "I'm not sure how to tell you this." She says, "There was not a break-in." She says, "Whoever this lass is walked right behind me, got into the keys, and I guess helped themselves to your apartment key. So we'll be having Clyde rekey your door."
Fantastic. And was it this Annie bitch that we're all interested in?
She says, "Can't ever get a good look at the face." Says, "It's a girl. I can tell you that."
Let Clive know that I've got a bit of company in my room tied up.
Nope. Clyde's off for the night.
No, oh, so Clyde's okay. Sorry.
Clyde is with Jen right now, actually.
Well, then, yeah, when he's finished helping her.
Oh no. Him and Jen stay in the club. We can get somebody else to help.
I mean, this guy's gonna be out cold for a while, yeah?
Now, yeah.
Okay. As long as we have a while. I don't want to come back to this fucking apartment and have him up and freaking out. Basically, though, I just want someone from the club to come over and maybe dump this guy in an alley.
She's like, "We can do that." She's like, "That's not a problem."
Good, because I don't want to hear on the news tomorrow that, somebody got killed or kidnapped and, brought over to our place. So make sure we take care of scrubbing those tapes.
She says, "I'm all over it."
But go and make a backup copy on a USB for me, just so we have record of this for ourselves.
She says, "I can do that."
Okay. Then I'm gonna finish loading up and head out with Michael.
So you head out to the car. So the three of you get in the Charger and head northeast, heading towards. So you want to take the long way and basically stay in Anarch territory for as long as possible. So that would be a very kind of circuitous route, instead having directly northeast, you're going to end up heading north, cutting through Fairmont Park, right along the edge, heading north and driving near Sabine's former club, through those kind of areas. And then you end up having to cut across a swath of known Sabbat territory on your way to contested territory between the Cam and the Sabbat. When you are cutting through Sabbat territory, there is an eerie feeling from the moment that you cross through until you leave and you're in Cam territory. It is almost a feeling like you're being followed, that you're being stalked and watched. It is the feeling of having predators tracking you as you move through the dark. When you
There's
get
somebody
to
in this damn car with us.
when you get to Camarilla territory, contested territory, of course, it subsides significantly, almost as if the predators know that this is not a free hunting ground for them here, as if there are other things here that they don't want to necessarily tangle with. It's only after you cross through that territory and you head into the Northeast Anarch territory that things become, in a sense, weirder. Now, Al and Vic, you've already felt this before. You've already been here late at night. But the feeling of absence, of emptiness, of long streets where nothing is happening, empty shadows where you would expect to see a pair of hungry eyes staring at you, instead being completely empty. Almost as if the denizens of this area have either been forced to leave or told that they are no longer welcome here. This area feels very, very empty of kindred presence.
This is in Cam, or
No,
is this now and back in the Anarchs?
You're in the Northeast Anarchs.
Yeah,
That's what I wanted.
What me and Al had discovered was that they had kind of outlawed feeding in their territory, period. So all of the Northeast Anarchs are currently feeding out of other people's territories because there's no feeding going on here, at least in public.
The longer that you guys are... Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The longer you guys are here, the more you drive around, the more obvious it becomes. Even when you do things like using Sense the Unseen, or there's just nothing. It is...
Are they all excited?
So what do you guys want to do?
Oh, boss.
Do I know where Reese's is?
Do you...
In fact, what we learned was that they don't have a general center of like a central base. They move around.
Migratory.
They move around like every couple of weeks or so. So every couple of weeks they're in a new location. So
Okay, so I'm gonna turn to Vic and be like, keep a nose out for Reese and those specific Anarchs.
I'll keep a nose out for anything so far. I don't think since we've gotten in this territory, I've smelled any kindred. Correct? Yeah, I haven't smelled any kindred since we've entered this territory at all.
Do a bit of a tour abouts and head towards Guild.
So when you get to Guild, the parking lot is packed. There are tons of cars there. When you park and pull up, an usher comes out, greets you, and says, "Is this your first time to Guild, or have you been here before?"
You can consider me an old shoe here.
They tilt their head at you, looking at you funny, and said, "Well, in that case, I do hope you have a good evening."
Thank you.
When you walk in, it is, to say it's packed is an understatement. It is also elbows and asses in here with kindred. There are probably we'll say 1 to 2 kind for every 3 to 5 kindred. It is a bit of a tense scene. It is a lot of predators in a very confined area with very, very little prey. So, what do you do?
I try and see if I can see Sabine.
From where you're as you guys are walking through,
You're shedding.
you do not see Sabine on the floor. All the bars are super, super packed. Even if they're not packed with people who are actually buying and imbibing, they're packed with people who are being looky-loos and buying fake drinks and hanging out and talking and being social. That's the other unfortunate part about all of this is that any sort of actual mobility and looking for people in here is going to be incredibly hindered by just the sheer number of people who are here tonight.
It's fucking sardines. Got it. God damn it. Why are you shedding? I try to go up to the main bar while trying to see any familiar faces as we go.
Okay, so Michael, you're headed to the main bar. Vic and Al, what are you guys doing?
I was just kind of following Mike's lead for the night, so I guess wherever he's going right now, I'm kind of following.
Okay, so Vic, you're following Michael. Al, what about you?
I'm slowly keeping up, but I'm also looking around for any of our regulars or anyone else I might recognize in the crowd.
So, Michael and Vic, you guys head to the bar. On the way to the bar, Al, you happen to glance up and notice that Lisa is looking down from the second floor catwalk at you. She is wearing her typical little blue suit that she always wears. She is not in particularly great shape. Her cheeks are sunken in. she is missing all the hair on one side of her head. It is covered in what look like long gashes. She has one of her arms in a sling. But it is also a little bit of a surprise that she's here at all, given that the last time that you heard anything about her was from secondhand discussion of a body that had been found by the SEPTA workers.
That tracks. I look up and give a little wave. What reaction do I get?
Just a further narrowing of the eyes.
But just like she's trying to focus, or like she's like pissed, like.
Oh, she's like, she hates your guts. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I say fuck it. I'm gonna go up and have a little chat with her.
So, okay. So, bit of a split scene here. Michael, Vic, when you get to the bar, what do you do?
I have been looking for familiar faces myself the entire time we were walking, and as I get a bar, I probably like give a good scan down the thing, see if I see anybody.
You don't see any. You see people who are familiar in so much as you have seen them maybe at the club once upon a time, or you've seen them when the Gangrel band was there that at your club way back when. Maybe at the last party that Sabine threw for you here when you guys, after the breaking free of the naval base. But in terms of people like now, there's nobody you can really cite.
Just post up, wait for the bartender.
It doesn't take long. The bartender comes over to you. She gives you a smile, but it is very, very obvious that she is very, very harried from this evening. She's like, "Hey, what can I get for you?"
Are there any specialties of the night?
She goes, "Just what we've got on tap."
I'll take a bit of that. And is Sabine in?
She says, or the bartender gives kind of a nod and says, Sabine's in meetings right now, I guess.
In her office?
As far as I know, yeah. He does a pull off the tap and passes it across the bar to you. It is Draft Youngling, which is reasonably.
Oh, like, did you say youngling or yingling?
Youngling. It's okay. It's just short of piss.
Wait, like an actual beer, or is it like for like Kindred?
No, it's a beer.
And I'm gonna look at him and was like, "Is there no other types of libations?"
The bartender looks at you and goes, "Fresh out, unfortunately."
Thank you.
He says, says, "Unfortunately, That's part of the reason why we're as busy as we are, is because
I see inflation has gotten to everything.
uh, no, more like supply and demand.
I didn't
Mm.
mean to say that.
So,
Uh, all right. I would like to take my bullshit drink and see if I can post up where the exit of Threnity's office is.
You mean Sabine?
I mean, yes, thank you.
So you're gonna head to the door where Sabine's office leads out. Vic, are you also following over?
yeah, I am. I'm just following it.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm just following Michael's lead right now. I don't have any like really pretense of my own, so I'm just kind of here
Right.
to help out.
So Al, you head upstairs. When you head upstairs and onto the catwalk that surrounds the second floor, you notice a couple things really quickly. One, there are a number of thin bloods here. All of them have seen you, and not a single one of them is giving you a happy face.
Don't give a fuck. Just walking up in there like I own the place. I have no reason to. If they want to brawl, we can brawl, but it's stare all they want.
So when you get to Lisa, she just kind of looks you up and down and is like, what do you want?
Well, we're skipping the niceties, huh? I was just coming to check on you. You little worse for wear.
She kind of looks out over the crowd and she goes, I don't want to talk about it.
Get off my back. How have you been since, She was at Elysium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would have been the last time I actually saw her. Okay.
You were the one who told her that Ruby's gone.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of fucking people there that night. Yeah, just, I'd ask how things are going, but your attitude, I'm not guessing you don't exactly want my conversation.
She kind of scoffs and she goes, what do you think? She goes, having to step in here like we're goddamn sheep in a pen, desperate trying to get something to drink. She's like, the Cinder Institute is about ready to go to war.
Hmm?
Why don't you guys come back to... Sorry, I'm not there.
I mean,
Yeah.
what I'm gathering is that this is one of the few places that the Thin Bloods can come actually get a meal. Hence the supply and demand comment. So
She
seems like there's like a limited amount or something is going on and they're all clamoring here to get it. We don't do blood. There's no reason to try to use that as an angle.
Was that in game or out of game?
I was gonna say, who are you?
That was meta because Martha
Okay.
had brought up, why tell them to come back to us, and I'm like that they got other reasons for being. But that was technically meta.
So what do you say?
Well, if it's getting so hard to get a meal around here, are there not other sources can out you?
She goes, no. She goes, we are between a literal rock and a hard place. She says, if we hunt here, she says, then we're subject to the Baron and her bullshit. She says, if we hunt where they want us to hunt, as soon as we cross into that territory, the Scourge is waiting. She says, do you know how many of us she slaughtered in the last month?
I won't pretend to know that number, but I know she's a massive bitch and a pain in everybody's ass, so any number is too many.
She says, in just the last month, she says she's killed like 20 of us because we couldn't feed here, because we got hungry.
Well, there was a long time there when we were in enough of a position of power to help and to do something. And we constantly tried to form alliances in order to better everyone's situation. And seemed like a hell of a lot of y'all just wanted to give us the finger.
She shakes her head. She goes, no. She goes, what we wanted, what collectively we wanted, was for Ruby to pull her love-stuck head out of your ass and realize that she could have been the key to making things better for all of us.
I'm going to be
She says-
nice enough to dignify that with a response. Ruby was her own fucking person, and I gave her as much freedom as I could without allowing some of your dangerous friends to make life hell for her. And now she's gone. So throwing it in my face doesn't help anything.
At that point, Lisa just erupts. She's like, it wasn't about control. It wasn't about whether or not you had her on a leash or how much freedom you gave her. She could have passed as them.
No shit, Sherlock. I didn't. You're blaming me for decisions she fucking made on her own, even outside of my theoretical control. She already had made her decision and gone down that path even before what happened with Shaw.
It says, and now she's gone.
Yeah. And if you keep pointing the finger at me, you're not going to be pulling one back. And I just walk off.
So, where do you head after?
I'm pretty sure from wherever I am, I can look down and see Vic. So if I can see big ass Vic, I'll make my way down to him.
So when you guys get down there, as you join up now, the doors open and for lack of better terminology, entourage of kindred and ghouls, some humans, come out from the back with Ajax and Genevieve leading the way as they cut through the crowd, and they don't even look at you. They just walk right past you.
But I recognize as many people as I can. I was just trying to see who was coming out of that meeting.
It is almost entirely members of the Northeast Anarchs, including the three that were at your club the night that Robin got punched through the window and that Teddy got absconded with. They are in the in-between between Ajax and Genevieve walking out, and the next group, which includes Reese and Cyrus.
Cyrus was the new Nosferatu.
Yeah, I was
No.
just about to ask who Cyrus was too.
Genevieve is their Nosferatu. You played poker with Genevieve that one night.
Cyrus is.
Cyrus is their Malkavian.
Okay.
Al knows who
Okay,
Cyrus
okay,
is.
okay. Once you said Malkavian, I knew who he was. Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm just being a gorgeous piece of meat on a couch, watching them all go by, being not bothered. But
And correct me
witnessing
if
all
I'm
of
wrong,
them.
but the council gave us permission to eliminate them, correct?
If we chose to, yeah.
If we chose to, okay. So,
As they walk out, you see a very haggard-looking Sabine come out after. She does not look like her normal glamorous self. She doesn't even look as good as she looked when she was at the council meeting. She looks run
Drained.
ragged. So what do you do?
At this point, I get up and I approach her.
She gives you a smile and she says, Mr. Starwell, it is an absolute pleasure to see you tonight. She says, to what do I owe the honor?
The procession that I just witnessed. Do you have a minute for me in the back?
She goes, for you and yours, absolutely. And she opens the door and holds it open for the three of you. Does everybody head down?
Yeah.
Leading you to her office, she sits down very tiredly and puts her feet up on the desk. Says, so what can I do for you?
Well, you can tell us what the fuck that was all about and why you look like you were just putting up the fight of your life.
She says, you remember how I told you that they were asking for an amount off the top
Yeah,
from our... She goes, now it's
from
not...
from your profits.
She goes, well, now it's not just an amount off the top. It's a sizable amount of every supply that we get.
How are they enforcing you? Who have like how have they gotten everybody to just agree what they say? Are they this violent?
She says, Ajax and his crew are.
then maybe that's who we need to take out first, or look into first.
She's-
Ajax and his
No,
crew.
you spoke right first time. Let's just take them out.
Take him out.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, at least
Fuck the
look.
research.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna elbow you for a second, be like, yes, let her talk.
She says, he tries to keep them as in line as is possible, but the reality of it is that most of the children that he has sired are closer to hungry dogs than they are to actual kindred.
I can attest to that.
So tell me everything I need to know about what's been going on here, what they've passed, what they've passed after, who and how they've enforced this. I need to know as much as I can.
She just kind of shrugs and shakes her head, and she says, they are, if nothing else, a well-formed machine. Ajax is the muscle. Reese is the leader. She says, Genevieve is probably the most rational one of the four of them, but she's also the most coldly sociopathic.
Which one, Genevieve?
She says everything with her is down to numbers. She is their eyes and ears. She sees all, she hears all. She says Cyrus is their she gives you a look, Al, and she says Cyrus is their winning lottery ticket, as it were.
A daywalker.
A reasonably accurate precog.
Oh. Got it.
He sees things before they happen.
So he's the one, he's the alarm system for everything.
She says, yes, but he's had a vision of his own death. And in order to attempt to prevent this from happening, she says they are marshaling their forces. They are integrating new members. They are siring new children weekly. She says, and with every new mouth comes a new expectation of their tithe. She says, at this point, they, by themselves, take about 60% of our total product.
What's this vision of death?
This sounds extremely edible.
They're shovel hitting this shit.
Cyrus seems to be going through an edible affliction, unfortunately, because I fear the desperate measures are coming because that vision hasn't gone away.
She says, well, it can't happen too soon. She says, she says, I hold no ill will towards him of all of them. She says, but
he allows the tyranny to happen because of his service. Have they settled down a little bit more, or are they still pretty wanderish around this territory?
She goes, it's worse than it ever was. She says that's the other part of the reason why there are so many kindred here, is because Reese has declared that any kindred's domain within her barony is able to be the home of the Baron at a moment's notice. There's already been 2 very, very near instances where she fell on people's domains and kicked them out literally into the morning sun.
If you are able to hear any of this, do send them our direction.
She says, many of them are...
They will be punished if they seek sanctuary in our domain.
She says, no, many of them are proud. They don't want to give up their homes. She says, and those, frankly, who are willing to leave typically are, well, let's just say that Charles's reign did not put a whole lot of happy feelings in people's bellies, and they're happy to be out of Philadelphia.
I hate to say it, but this might be what I call in Charles is a boon for.
He's dead.
Huh? I'm sorry, not
Charles?
Charles. Carmine. Sorry,
Yeah.
Carmine owes me a boon. I hate to say it. I'm not sure if I want to use it here or not yet, but
We can sit on that for a second. We don't have to act anything right now. That is good to know. Is there anything you can tell us about? Do they always move in a group, or do they have moments apart?
Says the only one that moves as ever separate from them is Genevieve when she is doing whatever Genevieve does. So the rest of them move as a pack. She
All right.
looks at you, Al, and she says, I'll say, however, that you've managed to inadvertently rob Reese of some of her glory. She says
she wanted Shaw.
Reese wanted to Reese thought that she could use the death of Shaw to consolidate her own power, to demonstrate that she was the fittest.
You see, this bitch and her friends have got this all twisted around that it's my fucking fault that Ruby did something all on her own. There was no way I could have gotten to Shaw in time to separate them. This literally had nothing to do with me. Anyone could have been in my shoes.
I don't know, but
Ruby did what Ruby did.
But one of the things you probably should understand, being that you've been a vampire for as long as you have, is that the sins of your sires are blamed on you. So if you sire someone and they do anything, that automatically reflects on you because you chose to sire.
Again,
I'm just saying that
me,
kind of
and
like
I don't.
overall.
I'm me, and I still would. I'm bucking that idea. I can know it. I know lots of shit that I turn around and say "fuck you." So, if Reese is who we need to take care of,
What is
or Cyrus, then
right, Cyrus?
I say
What is
we
the
have at
story
it.
that they've been pushing about our side? What is the slight? I ask her.
Sabine kind of shrugs and gives you a tired smile and says, at this point, it's like so many conflicts is layered on so many past events and so many different people's perspectives. She says they often would point to the fact that the thin blood community apparently at some point approached you for some sort of assistance, which was never forthcoming.
I don't understand how this ever got like this. I don't recall not helping anybody who asked for it. And nobody will tell me when this was. I have a bad habit of being being a sucker for the little guy. So I really can't understand how, within the limitations of surviving, we're to blame. I need clarity, or I would love clarity.
Sabine gives you a kind of a sad smile and says, I can understand that, but we're rational people. And she says, to be fair, we're also not being hunted every night. She says, so perhaps our perspectives are not as
in tune.
Or simply not as desperate.
I mean, there is no hunting of thin bloods in my baronet. Any truth of that falls onto ears that need it, may it be so.
She nods and she says, unfortunately, as the council made clear and as Mariah has made clear in the past, just because it is not something that happens on Anarch territory does not mean it's not something that isn't actively happening here in Philadelphia every night.
That I know. But I can do what I can do. If I only have 5 feet of rope, I only have 5 feet of rope. No matter how much I wish it was 20.
Sabine looks around the room and she goes, oh, how I know about not having enough. She says, so what else can I do to help you this evening?
Well, we've had have you heard anything from Threnody or any of the other Anarchs in the area?
Sabine shakes her head.
Anything else that I can do for you?
She thinks and then she says, no, not that I can think of.
If you can do it without being discovered, try and keep us updated on the movements of the pack. It might help us solve any problems.
Sabine,
without, of course, too much risk to your own self.
Sabine nods and says, I will absolutely do that. Al, you were sitting at the table in front of Sabine when there is a twinge behind your eyes and you start to see the walls around you start to fall away like they're set pieces on an old Western, just kind of collapsing away. Sabine falls back and away. The desk in front of you falls away. Michael and Vic fall away, and you are sitting there. on a rain-soaked parking lot. And you see somebody running across the parking lot, desperately running.
Do I recognize this parking lot as somewhere I've been before?
You think that you would know this parking lot. The figure runs and runs up against a chain link fence that it too falls away and runs into a maze of warehouses.
Shit.
That every single time that they run behind a warehouse, that they run into something, it just collapses like it doesn't exist. Like it's just fake balsa wood.
Can I make
set
out
piece.
any features of the person at all?
Cyrus's clothes are soaked.
Shit.
He is gasping desperately for breath even as he runs. And even in this vision, he seems to turn to you. He says, I told you. I told you he was going to kill me. The last warehouse that he leaned against collapses away, leaving him standing in the middle of a large industrial field. On the other side of the field, you can't see who or what it is. It looks like a shadow that was two-dimensional that has somehow pried itself off the ground and is walking like a paper-thin slip of nothing. Cyrus looks back at you and then looks at the shadow. And the last words you hear Cyrus say is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then you are back sitting in Sabine's office.
Freaky, but I hate that bastard.
Yeah, he was the one you didn't hate, honestly. He was the one. He was the other Malkavian of the group. He was the one you made the connection to.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm hating on the group as a whole.
Yeah, but
They want to blame me for not taking individual steps to remedy bullshit with Ruby. That's not my department. He can step away if he
I
wants.
guess that's fine. I guess that's fine for your perspective. From my perspective, to me, he seemed like he was used. He seemed like he had no no control over how he was being controlled, and they were just using him for his premonition abilities. It's that's just me, my perspective. I didn't get to spend as much time with him as you did, but at least on my perspective, it seemed like he was not happy there. He was very very much being controlled, but like I said, that's just me, and I'm not. I didn't see what happened in your head, so.
I guess I would explain what I saw these two, since we already know that he's seen a premonition of his own death.
I would ask you if the warehouses look like the creepy warehouses that we saw.
I would say that you would not be able to properly tell what the warehouses look like, but you would definitely know what that parking lot looks like. And yes, it is the same place.
So this leads us back to the creepy warehouses.
Eh,
Whee.
Sabine, one last thing. I'm kind of confused. If nobody's allowed to hunt in Northeast, how do they eat?
Outside of their territory.
Sabine gestures to her club.
Mm-hmm. And that's why there's no blood available tonight for anybody else, because they've taken it all.
So they're literally sucking you dry.
She gives you a thin smile and she says, and it's only going to get worse, I'm afraid.
They keep siring. They keep bringing more in.
overpopulation.
She says, I do hope that you don't have any emergencies for a little while.
That makes all of us.
I think we need to go back and really plan how we're going to attack the Northeast Anarchs. Like what kind of a... It kind of seems like we need to plan this out a little bit and figure out who we're going to take down first.
Thank you for spending your time with us and for letting us know everything. If you need me at all, you know where to get me. You can just send a dancing lady text message if you want.
She smiles at you and nods and says, hopefully by the time that the next council meeting happens, we will have better news on this front.
Indeed.
She sees you out of her office and you walk out into the main part of the club. So what do you do from here?
I think I'm at a 1 hunger. And there's
yes.
not a lot of people to
There
feed
are not hardly any people here at all.
Okay, we should head back.
So you guys are just heading back to the beacon?
Or do we want to go by the creepy warehouses and then bust down 95?
Only if we have time. What time is it?
It is about 3:30.
Yeah, we should start heading home.
Yeah, we should probably just head home then.
So, taking the quickest route across the city still takes you a half hour, 45 minutes, a little less than an hour in the rain. When you pull up and park, the smattering of crowds that were at the beacon are mostly gone. Bars are being closed down. So what do you guys want to do at this point?
I had a question, but did I ever get contact information from Cyrus?
No. No, you attempted to give contact information to Cyrus when you ran into Reese and Cyrus at the Dissolved Girl.
Okay, that's why I thought that. Okay. That's when Reese was a dick and then they just walked off.
Yeah.
Uh, well, should at least plan on checking out the warehouses tomorrow. In the meantime, we've got some. In my vision, it seemed like Cyrus was alone except for this shadow creature. So it doesn't mean that we'd be able to take them all out, even if we were there to take out Cyrus.
And
We need to stop planning and start seeing how we can get around Cyrus's precog too. I say we just go home and see what we can reinforce and what we have. Do like a inventory.
yeah,
Check out our booms and our stuff.
that, and I'm not convinced that Cyrus is the enemy. I think we might even be able to bring him in if he's still alive. If we can get to him and save him, we might be able to bring him in and pull him to our side.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. There's
The
too
way that
many.
this-
There's too.
it's-
He's playing servant to too many masters.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Like if we literally were able to take everyone out but him, then maybe. But then obviously his
gonna be keeping
loyalty would be
everybody else.
questionable. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. He's going down with the ship.
All right.
We just got to figure out how to get all the rats on the ship at the same time.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I'm thinking about taking them down one by one, honestly. Like it may be better to like dismantle their network, piece by piece instead of like trying.
Yeah, but you get a couple pieces in and then they start building
I
force.
do
They're gonna realize what's going on, that they're being picked off, and then they're
I-
gonna
I-
get stronger.
I realize
we
that, but
I think before anything comes to action, we really need to check on our allies to see if we even still have them, since everybody's been so dead silent and avoidant for so long.
I don't think we have.
Before we like start making plans to move, we don't know who we have and who's okay and what
I don't
we
think I
have
would count
capable
on
of.
anyone who's not living in our apartments right now, honestly.
Still, like, I'm the Baron. There are peoples. We got to make sure they're okay. Like, you can't go up against another one without making sure that you're like, your shit don't stink.
Yeah.
Need morale. Need like bit of unity.
That brings up the good argument of take care of your own before you go off. No, I get that. That makes sense. So it seems like we've got a good discussion to.
Yep. Plus, that way you could visit Carmine.
Yeah, this might be big enough to call in Carmine's Boon in for, but
Yeah.
I want to get with Moira and go over the tapes for tonight.
Yep.
So when you head to Moira, Clyde is already in the building over there. When he sees you, he flips you a new key.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And he says, it's not going to be cheap, he says, but Moira is now thinking that we need to actually do rotating keys every month.
What if we install electronic e-card locks? We can scratch the cards whenever needed, program them, like hotels.
He says we could do that, but then that means that if anybody can get their hands on one card, then they can figure out the algorithm to
Garbage.
21st century. I hate to say it, but this is security in the 21st century.
Yeah, we'll get with Michael on that one.
Maybe it's time to start setting up even more cameras too, and like maybe like motion detectors.
2-factor auth, a key card and a passcode. You know, you have got the card and the code to get in.
Clyde says, we're working on it. But unfortunately for tonight, this is all I've got for you. Your guest has been relocated.
Awesome. Wasn't too much worse for.
We'll just say that your guest has been relocated, and we'll leave it there.
Hey, it was in the dark. I didn't even know what condition he was in before I took a snack, so. And he said this crazy bitch showed up in our place. I don't know. You know.
So, Vic, where do you? We know Al headed to go check in with Moira. Where did you head?
I'd say I would be unpacking the car, but fuck it. At this point, like, we're running into so much shit. Just leave the car packed so that it's packed for the next time we have to go. The car is just packed. That's just, you know, it's just in that state at this point.
I'm gonna figure out a more like appropriate, like false spare kind of way of keeping it constantly.
I'm gonna work into like working machine guns on the side of the car or something at this point. You know,
It's not the Batmobile, goddamn.
Not yet.
It can be.
Okay.
No, I think I'm just checking in with Romano, Harvey, and Jack, and just seeing how the night went, and I guess just.
So when you get to them, Westy is still hanging out with them. It's been, you know, they kind of give you the rundown. It's been slow. There hasn't been a whole lot of activity. You know, haven't needed to throw anybody else out. They point out, they say, you know, and we even kept an eye out for our
mystery visitor.
yeah.
But if you wouldn't have seen the mystery visitor any other nights before, I doubt you would have seen her tonight or any other night in the future. Like that.
They said, well, we certainly didn't see anybody tonight.
Yeah. I appreciate you for keeping an eye out, but I have a feeling she's got means of getting by the front door.
Michael, where do you head? What are you doing?
I go to retrieve Westy. And is Lane there?
Lane is at her bar counting out, yes.
She hasn't fed for a while?
Lane? Lane's
Oh,
good.
I mean Robin. Sorry.
Oh, Robin. The last time you fed her was a couple weeks ago.
So she's probably like chomping on the bits.
She's been asking every vampire she knows. She's been like hitting on every time she sees a vampire walk by. She's like, hey you, hey, how's it going?
That's not inaccurate.
We got left with a mess with that one.
I take her in the extra alcohol room and let her like pull one off.
So you're going to let her feed on you?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will increase your hunger by 1. Do you let Westy see this? See you do this?
No.
Okay.
To ask her to wait behind the bar and then come back out.
Okay. So what do you do?
There.
So what do you
Take
do
Westy
then?
home.
Okay. So then you head back to the apartment with Westy. So you head back to the apartments. Vic, are you heading back to the apartments as well?
Yeah, after checking in, I guess I'll head back to the apartments.
And Al, you were already in the lobby at the apartments. What do you do?
Did I get to see tonight's footage?
Yes, it is. The footage is a little unsettling, as the footage from within the office actually has Moira there, and you see this figure walk right past Moira and start going through keys, and then pluck your key out, and then walk back in to the lobby, and walks dragging the body the whole way, even drags the body onto an elevator with somebody else,
And they don't see it.
and they don't see it.
So they have the power to obfuscate past themselves. Holy shit.
Is that just like an elevation of obfuscate, or like a high level,
It's a higher level.
or is it a separate power?
Wits and occult. Do you want to spend a willpower for?
Any of
You can roll up to 3. Okay, so you know that after a certain point, that certain kindred have mastered the ability to not just conceal themselves, but to conceal objects and even things as large as houses.
Conceal. Level 4.
Yep.
This ability allows the user to cloak an inanimate object such as a door, a car, or a small house. As with other obfuscate powers, this doesn't actually make the object invisible, but creates a lingering hypnotic effect that causes most people to simply ignore it. In this case, the power is especially effective given that the object is unlikely to call attention to itself. Unless something causes passerbys to collide with it or someone points it out, people behave as if it just isn't there.
So since she was just dragging a dead body, no one else noticed it.
The other
dead, just incapacitated.
There's also possibly like vanish.
Well, the other possibility is a higher level power called Cloak the Gathering.
Cloak the Gathering.
That's what it's about to go. Yeah.
The vampire can shelter their companions under the guise of obfuscate. System. The vampire can extend their power of obfuscation to a number of additional willing subjects equal to their wits, plus 1 for each additional rouse check made. The obfuscate power can be used on any the obfuscate power used on the group can be known to the user, and every member of the group counts as having used it on themselves, using the obfuscating vampire's rating as their own when needed for a roll. Members of the group can still perceive each other while under the effects of the power. If anyone besides the user is revealed, either through their own doing or an astute observer, the rest of the group remains hidden.
That's pretty cool.
So all we get on camera is her taking the key from Moira. Then she's off camera. And the next thing
Goes
you
over to
see
the
is her
apartment.
enter the apartments dragging the body.
And well, no, you see her in the lobby dragging the body. And then she gets on an elevator with somebody else that's already going up with them.
Who's on the elevator?
Just one of the other residents.
They didn't notice. They had no idea she was there.
So we have residents that aren't part of the coterie in this building?
There are a few.
Okay.
there's many murders happen in this building. I didn't think that was it.
Right.
They're elderly. They don't wear their hearing aids at night.
So
They're around for the early bird special.
after she left the body in my room, she just exited the building and left
Mm-hmm.
and didn't go back to the club or anything.
Not that you see. I mean, the cameras don't cover the entire line all the way over.
Right. Right.
But she didn't we don't see her returning the key. She just walks off with it.
Yep.
Yeah, we gotta figure
Level
out who this
5 obfuscation, yo.
Is it level 4 or 5? Either.
Five.
this out.
Cloak the Gathering is 5. Conceal
Yeah, but
is
it
4.
could have been the 4. The level 4 one would have worked too. So
Well, it's not an inanimate object, but it's also not a willing participant. So I
yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Yeah, I go ahead and text the core group and let them know what I've just seen.
No.
So, with that, Vic, final thoughts.
I don't know if they should be my thoughts, but I'm kind of wondering on who's helping Al out. It just kind of seems like they've been keeping an eye on her for a long time and have been staying in the shadows. And it doesn't.
Maybe they're who killed what's her face?
I don't know.
Or
But
left all those creepy messages in the beginning.
yeah, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like they're necessarily a threat, at least to me, at least my perspective, my perspective. But it could help explain a lot of things that have happened in the past that we've had no idea what was going on behind them. But
I just realized how long ago those moments were, and I'm like, oh my god.
Mr. Starwell, final thoughts for the evening.
I'm going to spend the remainder of my evening kind of I don't know how to say this better, but playing around with Westy, trying to see if she has any powers or whatever, kind of telling her what it feels like for me and seeing if she can do anything.
We will definitely have to come back to that.
And then we go to bed.
Al, final thoughts.
I'd probably be doing much more research as I can on what it is to learn more about the Bahari and that aspect of what I'm trying to explore.
So, you are, I'm guessing, reading your PDF copy of the Book of Nod.
I'm trying to make time to read anything, but
We will come back to that at a later date. With that, our session, though certainly not our chronicle, has come to an end. XP has been awarded.
I need a level 6.
Yeah. Gotta do some things.
I don't even know how much XP I have.
Which leads us, of course, to the question of our next night. So I know that there was a discussion that we were going to not be playing Mothership on Thursday, and then so my schedule has re-cleared up for Thursday night.
Okay.
But if you guys are still wanting to take the evening off, then we can take the evening off, or
I could actually really use the evening off right now.
Okay.
Because I'm helping my brother out with all of these things with his son, and we're running out of time.
That's cool. I just accidentally put it on my schedule out of habit today when I was making my schedule, and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah."
Yeah.
So yeah, I can put the word out on that's not happening.
I mean, you guys can do it. Like we're back at the ship. You know what I mean? We have left the bell.
Yeah, but at this point, I don't know. It kind of seems like pointless starting something without a third person being this close to the end. So
Got it.
I would rather try if if Knox has indicated that we're very close to the end, I would rather kind of finish it off with the whole party, you know. So,
As I have said, just because you are close to the end does not necessarily mean that things cannot still go catastrophically
Yeah.
wrong.
right.
Case in point, last week.
But also, we may need 3 people so that things don't go catastrophically.
You're so bossy right now.
Well,
You're being so bossy.
I want to thank my coterie for being with me tonight. Yeah. So as you guys have heard, we're gonna take Thursday night off, so no mothership this week. Thanks for sticking with us, especially our lurkers. I know you guys just put us on in the background and listen, and we always appreciate it. If you're new and you've enjoyed my content, please consider following. And of course, guys, subscriptions just help help me keep things running. So please consider subscribing at some. You guys have a good night. Blah 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 blah.
I'm saying go subscribe. Go
Oh.
down there. Go subscribe. Over there. Click it.
I know,
Click it.
I know.
It's great. It's so fun. Just it'll feel really good. I promise. Go click the button.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. I love you all. Good night,
all.
guys. And I'll raid you guys out to a friend, so stick around.
Have a good night, y'all.
Nah.